one thing you don't want to have when you're a boxer going into a big fight is any type of drug testing controversy. So this is Sullivan Barrera right here. Let me put this up. This is his Twitter. If you don't know who he is a light heavyweight boxer, 21-1 with 14 KOs. Last fight against Felix Verreira. In fact, we might as well go ahead and show it right here, right now. We're going to talk about it. This is TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Please subscribe. All the links to my social media are likely popping up in the description box. And we're going to talk. My bad. This was his last fight on HBO. We're gonna go look at his box rec too, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about if you don't know, he's supposed to be fighting Dmitry Bivol for the WBA title at 175 pounds on March the 3rd on an undercard of the Kovalev versus Igor. I forgot how to pronounce his last name. But it's going to be 2 cards in that city that night. You're going to have the Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz over in the Barclays Center. And you're going to have this, or supposed to, if the fight goes on, because over on Sullivan Barrera's Twitter, he's saying that if there's no Vada testing, that there's not going to be any fight. And he's saying that we're going to get into it. But in the meantime, get familiar with Mr. Sullivan Barrera right here. Please subscribe. Now, obviously, you can't tell who these fighters are through just highlights, but through his last several fights, and let's go look at it, he's been somewhat of a, they call it a chinny fighter, where, like he gets these flash knockdowns. He'll go down, but he'll, get back up. For example, Felix Verreira, he went on to win that fight. The Joe Smith fight went on to break his jaw. I don't think he didn't go down in this Paul Parker fight, but he did go down in this Zar Shabransky fight, who Kovalev knocked out in the main event of his last fight against Felix Valera. And then he lost to Andre Ward. Now, if you'll notice, it hasn't even been a year yet since Andre Ward retired, and all of his vacant titles are now, non-vacant. So, of course, you have Adonis Stevenson, who's still the WBC champion. The WBC finally sanctioned him to fight Badou Jack. That fight's going to likely take place in February or maybe even March. They were saying that they wanted it to happen in like December, but it was a whole bunch of issues going on where they pushed it back to January. And now, who knows, really when it's going to take place. But it's going to happen. You got Dmitry Bivol, who's supposed to be taking on Sullivan Barrera. He's the WBA. Artur Beterbiev is the IBF, and Sergey Kovalev got his WBO title back. Excuse me. Now, if you look at his Twitter, this is what we're here for, right? Now, he pinned this. He sent this to Dmitry Bivol. Wait for weeks about you. Basically, he's got broken English, because he's a Cuban fighter. But I'm going to decipher this shit for you. He's saying he's been waiting for 3 weeks for Dmitry Bivol to agree to the Vada testing, but he hasn't heard anything. And it's crazy because just 18 minutes ago, he retweeted from this guy. I don't know who this guy is, Mikey Memento Mori Manifesto. Is this legit? Is this legit an issue, or am I just not following enough Bivol social media accounts on other platforms? Either way, I don't know how this stuff is up in the air for 3 weeks, unless this is just some sort of unusual promotion of the fight. Nobody got nobody's phone number, fax, email, or nothing. Basically, Sullivan Barrera is saying like, yo, like take this drug testing, bro. I'll pay for it and everything. He was all over the internet saying he want to fight me and he hope I accept combat. But when I accept 3 weeks ago, I require Vada testing, which I pay for myself. Make no money like him, disappear, says it's holidays. So basically he's saying like, you know, like before the holidays, I said, all right, you know, like we gonna fight, sign up for this Vada testing. And what's up? I pay for it. Where you at? You know, so that's pretty much everything in the nutshell. You know, and the thing is, Dmitry Bivol is pretty good, and people have been saying, you know, or feeling that he's the reason why Andre Ward retired. Not because Andre Ward didn't want to fight him, but Andre Ward wouldn't have made no money fighting him, and Bivol is still like, he's a prospect with a championship, and he's a prospect that, no, he's not, he's a champion now, but he was on the fast track, just like Artur Beterbiev. You know, and Ward was coming up against these guys that he would have had to fight. His mandatory would have been Beterbiev. His mandatory then would have been Bivol. And basically, he would have fought these guys, yes, and further solidified his greatness. Whether you think whether you think he's great or not, but marketability-wise, you know, these fights wouldn't have sold. And Andre Ward, I mean, come on, you know, and I'm disappointed in you guys, you know, you sons of bitches, and I'll say it. You know, for the ones who call themselves boxing fans. And it was one of the biggest fights of the year, even though it didn't sell well. Ward versus Kovalev 2. Both of the fights was big, but Ward versus Kovalev 2 has some real animosity in it. You know, the storyline, everything was there. You know, even the fight was good. Both fights were good. You know, but the second fight did, you know, according to ticket sales and according to you know, pay-per-view buys, worse than the first one. So basically, from my understanding, you know, and the way I look at it, you know, my theory is that Andre Ward was like, well, shit, I'm not fighting those guys. I ain't going to make, you know, like, where the money going to come from, you know? And then it's going to be that political bullshit and everything. So he said, I'm out of here. You know, another theory is that he'll be back in a couple of years or so at, like, heavyweight. He's been talking about for years now that he want to test the waters at heavyweight. What if Andre Ward comes back, you know, and fights at heavyweight at, like, a 198? You know, or something, depending on what the heavyweight landscape is. But a lot of people don't really feel that he's retired. They just thinking like, man, he saw Beterbiev and Bivol coming along, so he want nothing to do with those guys. Now, do I say it's ducking? Nah. I mean, it depends on how you look at it, man. You know? And that's why, you know, sometimes knowing as much as I know, you know, when it comes to this boxing, like promotions and shit like that, it just be like, well, you know, I know why he did it. You know, or more so, I don't know why. I can understand why he did it, just looking from the outside, looking in. But at the same time, I would have loved to see him stick around and say, yeah, I beat Kovalev, and I'm going to beat these, you know, these so-called up-and-coming guys that they say might be able to beat me, and then I'm going to bounce. You know, I'm going to retire. You know? And he had already beat Barrera. Imagine if he would have stuck around and said, all right, listen, WBA and IBF, I'm going to fight both of my mandatories. In this case, Bivol was a mandatory for the WBA and Beterbiev for the IBF. He said, all right, I'll fight both of them, but don't strip me, and then, you know, I'll retire. You know, then, of course, one of these guys, Beterbiev or Bivol, I forgot, was a WBO mandatory too, or would have been Sullivan Barrera. So, of course, he wanted to try his best to avoid fighting Sullivan Barrera in a rematch. So he would have had to fight, you know, Bivol or, you know, Beterbiev, you know, and that would have been awesome, but we didn't get that. You know, am I judging him? Nah, that's not my place. I'm just here trying to report the news, man. But when it comes to this drug testing issue that Sullivan Barrera is having, first, let's go take a look at Bivol. I forgot to show y'all this. This was a fight. This was his last, the fight before last with Trent. This is Cedric Agnew, you know, but his fight after this one, but his last fight, he fought Trent Broadhurst, knocked him out. It was fucked up, you know. Trent be showing love on the gram. You know, but basically he's good. Oh, no, this is not the clip I wanted to show. It was this. Like, he's sharp. Was it this one? This one.
From the get-go, this is the first knockdown. It was a right hand, but there was a very good shot to the body that started everything. And that put Clarkson down for the first time. And he was hurt then. And Bivol didn't let him off. He pressed him the rest of that round and dropped him once again in the first round, and it looked for all the world as though the fight might be over right at that point. Clarkson did manage to get up, And then the third and final knockdown, and honestly, I thought when I saw it originally that it was a push that put him down. Obviously, it was a punch, and obviously it hurt Clarkson.
You know, with a big right hand, Clarkson was kind of lunging. And
also, I've noticed that it's not that he's one-dimensional, but one thing I do notice is that he relies on the 1-2 a lot. You know, let's go take a look at his resume. Let's go take a look at his resume. 12-0 with 10 KOs. Go full screen. 12-0 with 10 KOs. Sullivan Barrera, Trent Broadhurst, Cedric Agnew, Samuel Clarkson, and if you look, Felix Barrera's there. Remember, he fought Barrera, and nothing else is there. You know, but very good. You know, amateur background. You know, but outside of that, nothing. You know, nothing else is there. And this guy has become, him and Bertabiev, you know, more Bertabiev than him are the boogeymans of the division. We already looked at Sullivan Barrera record, right? Now, he has a respectable resume in his 22 fights, you know, with Dmitry Bivol coming up, Joe Smith, Czar Shabransky, you know, at that point in time, Andre Ward, even though he lost. Karo Murat fought Bernard Hopkins. You know, respectable. I'm not saying it's great, but it is a respectable resume for 175. But he does have a point. You know, going back to his social media, it's like, yo, what's up with that drug testing, you know? And then he posts here, no Vada, no fight. Let's see if he said anything else. You know? And that's, you know, and he's not wrong, especially if he's saying he's going to pay for it. It's like, where's it at? Wait, let me see. Wait. First, let me see what his caption is. We're not going to be, you know, doing Twitter searches, but I just want to see. I hope Sullivan Barrera wants this fight, HBO. Oh, this is from November the 30th. So this was before the holiday. This was around Thanksgiving when everything was cool. You know, let me turn this up.
Он технически. Ну, я надеюсь, что Баррера хочет этого боя, и он состоится. Я хочу этого боя. А хочу его, потому что в первую очередь хотят увидеть это зрители. Я знаю, что публика хочет этот бой. Я думаю, этот бой классный будет для меня, потому что Баррера это будет самый такой опытный соперник, с которым я бы хотел проверить вообще свои навыки. Он умеет и в ближнем бою поработать, он может и подвигаться, и все это на хорошем уровне. Да? Он бьет жестко, может быть наравне даже с Ковалевым. Да?
I didn't know y'all couldn't see the bottom. My bad. I'm not going to replay it though. I'm sorry. I'm not going to replay it though. But you know, like I said, I'm on Sullivan Barrera's side because, like, why would you not take drug testing? If somebody say they're going to pay for it and that drug testing shit is expensive, then it's like, all right, well then what you trying to say, bro? You trying to say I'm cheating? All right, I'm signing up. Fuck you. And you paying for it? You said you're going to pay for it. I was going to just, you know, go half with you, but now, no, fuck you. Pay for the drug test. Yeah, I'm clean. Where Bivol at? You know, remember, this was from, like, he tweeting about this stuff today. Like, this is going on today. And the last tweet he sent, the last tweets he was sending out before he asked for the drug test was around Thanksgiving. We're in the new year. So he what's going on with this testing? And we're officially just about 2 months away from the fight. You know what I'm saying? You got to give some, yo, Bivol. You know what I'm saying? You got fans riding with you. You know, you got to give up some piss. You got to give up some piss, some blood, some feces. We you know what I'm saying? Especially, it's a shame because, you know, the Eastern European fighters have a stigma, you know, of being on PDs. It's not saying that they are, but, you know, boxing fans feel like, oh, he from over there. He probably dirty. Ivan Drago. You know? I'm not saying he is, but that's just this perception. So, you know, they can't mess around with stuff like that. They got to come out and say, yo, don't be putting me in all that shit with all them other motherfuckers that be failing drug tests. I'm clean. Look, you want me to take the test? Let's do this shit right now. I never understood why it's been so difficult, man, for these guys to get this drug test and shit. You know, like, why is Sullivan Barrera basically retweeting somebody saying, like, yo, y'all can't call his team? Like, where's his team at? Where's everybody at about this drug test? But anyway, I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. I told you I was going to be giving you 4+ videos a day. So now on average. So now, like we in there, man. We feeling good. New Year's resolution has been just blessed. Please subscribe. All the links to my social media, obviously, if you've been seeing, has been popping up. TstreeT Controversy, TstreeT Controversy Live.